Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and NBs. Good evening. Welcome back to Play the Hits. This is Max, playing once again NieR Automata. Chris, how you doing tonight?
Brought to you live from NPR Studios, Bloomington, Indiana.
How's it
I'm
going?
Yael Cassander. Hey, what's up, Sparks?
Sparks.
Sparks is alive.
Okay, yeah, this one's mine. All right, we're just about where we left off last time. The saving was a little weird, so I came in just to make sure my controls and everything didn't go haywire, and it booted us back like 15 minutes. But we should be just about good now. And after a few minutes, it shouldn't be weird anymore. Saving's a little weird at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
And I've never replayed this game with chapter select, so...
I love how you save in like an ultra-futuristic Porta-John.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the nicer looking ones. Usually they're pretty beat up. They're supposed to blend in with the environment, but the machines know what's up. They're always attacking them. Well, I guess you won't see that.
Dude, did you see Sparks' comment?
No.
She just got back from GalaxyCon. One of these years she'll convince us to come to. That would be freaking awesome. I've always wanted to go to like a real, like, big-time con.
Is that a comics con? Which one is Galaxy? Is that
I don't
New
know
York
Galaxy.
City?
But then I don't really follow them very closely. I just know I want to go and buy a whole bunch of Final Fantasy shit.
Because I know the Wizard is in Chicago. That's one of the big ones. Obviously, the San Diego Comic-Con is probably the biggest.
Comic-Con I know, obviously. OhioCon I know.
OhioCon, yeah.
That's a pun, is what that is. Refresh me, how did your little sidekick dude here come back? Didn't he blow up after the first mission?
Oh, we both blew up. Try what out? You know what? No.
Smoke this! You're gonna feel real good.
That's always what's happening. Oh, shit.
Sparks says
right,
it's like Dragon Con, where it's comics, sci-fi, gaming, and all media in general. Okay, and that's kind of what I'd like. I'd just like to explore around and see what all there is.
Now, where does it take place, Sparks? Is that Midwest, or is it like one of the coasts, New York? I thought it was New York, but I might be wrong.
She'll probably tell us in a minute.
Alrighty. I was also trying to decide which weapons I wanted to use. I think I like just having one. The Ancient Overlord is just a broken weapon.
Okay, so I have to ask, because at this point I genuinely wonder, is the white of the menu like overwhelmingly like blinding to you, or is it just the way that it's streaming to me?
It might be the way it's streaming, but if everything else looks fine to you, it is a pretty bright menu. You're gonna have to.
Okay.
I mean, once you play this, you can decide for yourself if it's really bright or not. I'm gonna assume that it's just really bright for you.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can see the text, but only just barely.
Oh, really? Okay, then that seems kind of weird.
Okay. I mean, the game itself looks fine.
This looks fine.
The bloom and the whites are definitely, like, super saturated, but I assume that's just this game's look.
Yeah. And I'm one that's definitely used to, like, dark mode. I put dark mode on everything. Like,
you'll have to, like, go back and watch this and let me know if it's, like, appearing strangely on your end. Sparks writes this one was in Columbus. Okay.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh my god, I'm actually really sad that I didn't go, because, get this, the guests include George Takei, Weird Al, and last year's Steve from Blue's Clues. That's awesome.
Okay, yeah, everything's still gonna die immediately. I did change the difficulty to hard. That doesn't do anything, because I'm still level 99 and everything else is. But
they still can't kill you, but they'll at least last a little longer.
Yeah, the hardest mode, very hard. I die in one hit, no matter what, so I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, so real quick, I'm getting a little curious. I'm going to send you a picture of what I'm seeing. Just stand on top of one of the buildings and just, or actually stop right here.
Okay.
Never mind. Turn the camera back around towards that other building. Okay, I'm just gonna take a quick picture, and you let me know if like that's what it looks like on your end.
Shit.
Or if there's we need to do something with the brightness or saturation or something. Okay.
Oh, you did it on play the hit. Okay, let's see.
Sending to Max Biggs. There we go. So let's see here. Sparks continues to say they have close to 100 guests if you include authors, comic artists, and weirdly enough, wrestlers. That's awesome.
No, what the hell is this?
You could list off all celebrity guests, but that would take too long. Hayden Christensen was there. That's awesome.
No, something's wrong.
Okay, something's actually... Okay, I'm glad, actually, because I was like, that cannot be right.
No, something's very wrong.
Like, there's artistic bloom, and then there's over the top. The only thing I can think of is, are you playing in HDR? And is it attempting to stream to me in HDR?
I probably am playing in HDR. Let's see.
Shut that shit right off.
Settings. Because it looks good on my TV, but let's see. Screen? And look, my brightness is all the way down.
Oh my god, yeah, I know.
Let's see. VSync, graphics, anti-aliasing, blur.
Apparently HDR isn't an option.
Global illumination. Yeah, okay. Other?
Well, I mean, I say we just play through it and maybe figure it out next time, because, man, that is bright as shit.
That is weird. And, yeah, my screen brightness, what the hell?
The weird thing is, like, it's translating accurately. Like, it shows that the left icon is totally dark, while the right one you can see. Huh.
That's weird. Let me make sure there's not... Okay, no, it wouldn't be under
anything with,
else.
like, a bloom effect or something like that? I that's the only thing I could imagine. Oh,
and no matter what, my TV settings aren't going to do anything. Like, that's obviously just a computer.
I'm looking at my Discord options here real quick. I can mess with the volume. Stream attenuation strength? What is that?
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
I don't either, so I'm not going to mess with it.
Mode, resync.
It does seem like the kind of thing that Discord would do just to be Discord.
Yeah.
What's global illumination?
That's the, what do you call it? The, reflections.
Oh, okay.
Fidelity cast.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about it this time, but we'll try to figure it out between episodes.
Okay. Weird, though. Yeah, so it definitely wasn't you. So you're just an old man.
Yeah, right.
What's wrong with your old man eyes?
Huh.
So,
you know what's weird is that I just happened to glance over at my TV that I'm using as a second screen.
Yeah.
It looks fine there. I'm wondering...
You're from Yorha, right? I've heard about you guys.
Wait, 1 second here. I'm gonna see what happens.
Head on over. Just remember that there's nowhere to resupply out there.
When I turn off HDR on that screen.
What can I help you with?
Let's see if this does anything here. Gonna go black for a second. Sorry, Sparks. Okay, that seemed to make it a hell of a lot better.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay, it was that it's that I had HDR on that screen, you know, just for playing video games.
Yeah.
But apparently when you try to stream a source that's actively doing HDR, you're in for a world of pain.
Doesn't like it.
No.
Good to know.
And I'm sure there is a way on OBS to make it stream HDR correctly, but I don't know what that is. After 6 years, we're still such amateurs that I'm not going to mess with those kind of things.
All
Sparks,
right,
is that any better on your end?
I wonder if that was the problem with Silent Hill as well. Although that Sparks was having an issue.
Well, that was the opposite. That was like super dark.
Yeah.
Okay, this looks substantially better. Holy crap.
Okay, the menu looks okay.
Yep, wasn't your fault. It was. I mean, the menus I think are still bright, but that's just an artistic choice now.
Alrighty. By the way, I don't know about blasting through this game, but there are so many secrets and extra places to go that I just will not be going. The desert is one of those things.
Okay.
Like, all this over here, there's like a whole place to like go into 2D mode.
Oh, wow.
And find weapons and stuff like that. I'm not going to be doing any of that shit.
Yeah, you know, I figured for a game this big, we would just like blast through the main story, which is pretty much how we play any RPG that we do on this channel. Is like, just get through the main story as quickly as you can because it's already going to be a long project. But
I just don't want you thinking this game is more linear than it is.
Oh no, believe me,
no,
I've read enough about this game to know it is not linear.
But they definitely just give you, as far as the chapter select, they don't leave anything out. They're like, yeah, every weapon you have. And another one of the big finds, this is actually in the desert proper, like where all the sand is and everything, is your C pod. So I have 3 pods right now. You only start off with pod A.
Okay.
Which is your Gatling gun. And they're not upgraded at all. Like every weapon and stuff is upgraded too, and they just start off really weak. But,
yeah.
You find this missile one here in the desert, and I'd say it's kind of an upgrade. It's nice, but they all have their uses.
Okay.
This one you find much later in the game is my favorite.
Oh
so
my god.
I'm just gonna keep the laser.
The shocker,
huh? All right, now where do I go? It says I'm right here. I gotta find. Oh, there she is. Jackass.
Hey, our leader told me all about you.
Sparks, I'm
Name's
hoping it's
Jackass.
less, like, visibly
Nice to meet
painful
ya.
for you now.
I hear you're planning to take out all the machines in the desert. Guess that means we need to get that entrance open.
Looks like it. So, Jackass, was it?
Jackass, was it?
What are you doing all the way out here?
Really doesn't want to say it.
Oh, that? Well,
Oh, dear God.
wouldn't want to have anyone getting tangled up in that, now would we? Don't go trying to be a hero, alright?
Alrighty. So, you were busy today, huh?
Yeah,
Who opens a sealed gate with
just out of the blue,
explosives?
funeral,
There's gotta be
unfortunately.
a way, right?
That all went okay?
Oh, yeah. I wasn't expecting it, especially while you guys were over, but I was able to get everything that I needed done Saturday afternoon, so it worked itself out.
Good. Alrighty.
It was good to see y'all.
Yeah, Friendsgiving was nice. I love having our ramen. I always forget the name of the place. It's something.
Oh, Yatagarasu.
Yatagarasu. Yeah.
I'm probably mispronouncing that, but that's okay.
I really just like that part of town in general. Like, with the restaurants and
I
bars
wish
like
I had
stacked on
gone
top
to
of each other.
I enjoyed my college experience overall, but I wish I had gone to, like, kind of more of an actual university with, like, a street or district
This
like
sand
that.
Sure is slippery.
Yeah,
It's, like,
I mean,
really geared towards students and,
I get
restaurants
ya.
and
Careful.
bars and stuff like
We've
that.
got enemies approaching.
it is fun. Like, NIU was like that, but U of I was very much like that. I was only there for a semester. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
These machines are
It's a party.
Yeah,
Sparks, I'm
I
glad
heard
it
from
is
the
less
Resistance that
painful.
They've been seeing this a lot lately. Couldn't tell you why, though.
So one of the big things, I do still have my auto drop stuff on, which is like, they're going to drop everything all the time.
Oh, sweet.
But one of the most fun, probably the most fun thing about this game, if you just like crunchiness, is the chip mixing, where you're going to get, each type of enemy drops different kinds of chips. So
Like
each
Doritos, Lay's,
area, yeah.
Funyuns.
Do you think they even understand the
So
concept
you
of
got
being
like your
scared?
Funyun type chips that are dropped here in the deserts. There's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different types. And I'm already maxed out on something. What is that? That's bouncing.
You're
Oh,
maxed
broken
out on
keys.
everything. Look at you.
Broken key capacity full. That doesn't matter. But yeah, like the chips, what do you call it? There's going to be a whole bunch of different like levels of them. I think I told you this last time, that it's just like you might get, move speed plus 0, plus 1, and plus 2. but how much space they take up in your inventory is going to be the rarity of them.
Okay.
So it might take up as much as, like, I don't
What's with
know,
the weird-looking outfits?
15 spaces for a weak one. But if you get like the very best one, it only takes up 4 spaces, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you get like 2 of them that take up 5 spaces, or one that takes up 4 spaces, which is like the best one, and then maybe one that takes up 5 spaces, which is almost the best, you can mix those together and get like the best version of the second level.
Okay.
And it's a whole thing with math, because it's like, obviously,
There's
if you
math
mix
in
the
this
best
game.
two, if you mix the best two together, you're going to get the best of the next level. But you can have like one that's just slightly off, and like every other level, it's going to still make the most perfect one, and it's a whole fucking clusterfuck of hidden mechanics.
Yeah, sounds
and stuff,
like it.
but it's fun. All right, now where?
I'm
am
so
I
glad
going?
we did the
Oh, just
HDR
kidding.
thing before coming here because I can.
Oh my god, this would be painful.
Yeah, the sky is like bright white on your end too, correct?
Yes.
Good.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bright here no matter what.
At least now it's intentional. Wait, you have mounts in this game?
Yeah, if you want to.
That's
You don't have
awesome.
to
You're
use
just
them at all.
fucking riding a pig. Look at the robot ride that pig. Yeehaw.
You do have to get, you can't do it at first, but you can unlock the ability pretty early. It's like different satchels. Enemies or boars like this usually come after you and try to hurt you. And the first satchel you get, they're not as aggressive, but it's still really hard to mount them. The second satchel is a little bit better. They pretty much won't attack you at all. And then the third satchel you get, or like bag of food, whatever it is, it pretty much just lets you come up to them, and then you can ride them really easily.
Okay.
So, but riding for a somewhat large portion of the game is a little more difficult.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just one of the things you unlock as you go on.
You know, it kind of reminds me just a little bit of Horizon Zero Dawn, where like you learn how to unlock, or like you go into those like crucibles and unlock like the data for some of the robots, and you can at that point like ride them around.
You can ride the robots around? Shit, I didn't know
Dude, you
that.
haven't played? I thought you played Horizon.
Yeah, I think I'm near the end of Horizon, and yeah,
First
there's
one or
those
second
crucibles. First one.
Yeah, you could ride in the first one too. I don't think there's many, but
you know what? I wonder if that's something that I just totally forgot about. I
those
don't know,
are such great games. Did you see that? Okay, so did you see that they released a remaster of the first one?
Yes,
and that it's like,
and I think it's already on Steam.
Kind of impressive. Like I was expecting just like the same ass looking game overall with like slightly higher textures. They actually really put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, I saw the side-by-sides.
It's weird because I don't consider the PS5 like that huge of a upgrade over the PS4. But that game, but I mean, they can do a lot of stuff on it that, you know, either couldn't be done or could only be done to a lesser degree on PS4.
Yeah, and I mean, I looked at, like, you had the Forbidden West on PS5, and I just remember seeing that. And yeah, you were in a place with a lot of vivid, you know, like foliage and water and stuff, but I was like, shit, this looks a lot better than the first game. And the first game is pretty.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I definitely could tell, like, the PS5 can shine things up to a degree where it is noticeable.
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
You know, even if they're incremental upgrades, it's definitely noticeable.
Absolutely.
Large numbers of humans resided in such concrete and metal shelters. The structures were referred to by names such as apartment complex
and whorehouse.
Yeah, sometimes they do get things
mail notification
really wrong.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's right. I can change to a weapon that makes all the treasure chests look like Dragon Quest treasure chests.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
What is that?
Oh, please let it be an actual Dragon Quest weapon.
It's not the Cypress stick, I don't think. Maybe it is. Oh yeah,
Ooh,
that can also
sword.
I can dodge around with the engine blade.
That's hella cool.
We'll do that for a second. Fists. Oh, the fists are fun just because mixing it together with a sword yields very interesting combos.
Uh-huh.
It's a sword, I believe. Let's see. Virtuous contract, blah, blah, blah. Not the iron pipe. Faith? No, that doesn't make sense. Or is it?
That's just a
No.
straight katana. I would think
Is
it
it
would
the
be
Cypress
something that
stick?
looks like it came out of Dragon Quest.
Oh, Hero Sigil. Yeah, it is the Cypress stick.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So the Cypress stick is always one of like the first weapons that you get in every Dragon Quest game. So I guess that makes
Gotcha.
sense. Kind of disappointing though. I was hoping
Yeah,
it
a
would be
little bit.
like the like main Erdrick sword that's in most of the games.
Here, we're going to do Engine Blade for the weapon set 2 and the Cypress stick. I don't think I'm going to find like hardly any treasure chests, but we'll see.
Yeah. By the way, I think I'm almost to the end of Dragon Quest 3,
Oh, geez, nice.
which means that I'll finally have all of my efforts focusing on Persona.
So was it Dragon Quest 4 or Dragon Quest 7 that was like unusually long?
7.
7, okay, gotcha.
7, like we talked about a little bit last time, like by the time that was done, I had really enjoyed it, but man, was I ready for it to be done. Like, that was just a long game.
Is that
And
the
that's
game
like
with like
not
different?
even counting like all of the side stuff and optional content. Like, it was like a series of sub-stories that were all interconnected. And I guess every Dragon... Oh yeah, you're right, that's awesome.
Oh,
I guess every Dragon Quest is like that to an extent, where like the main plot sort of happens in the background until the very end, and in the
Okay.
meantime you're just kind of going from place to place and like sort of helping the village folk out with their problems, and that's kind of the main thing. But 7 did it to an extreme. Like, every island had its own like population, and there was something wrong with it, and yeah, it was just unlocking these islands, getting to know the people, and then doing a dungeon and a boss and moving on to the next island. It was wild how long that game was. And I mean 11 too, like when you like went through the entire story, like all 3 scenarios.
Target confirmed.
That was really long
Let's
too,
get
but 7 I think trumped even that. Because I think having like platinumed that game on PS4, I still didn't spend as much time as I did going through Dragon Quest 7 on the 3DS.
Yeah. Was the 3DS version the first time you played 7?
No, I
Was
played
it
it
a
on PS1
PS1?
but didn't finish it.
Oh,
The
okay.
3DS was the first one that I beat.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which, by the way, if you ever want to borrow it, it's really I'm not making it sound very good right now, but it's really good, and it's definitely worth doing. It's also a really impressive game to be crammed on a 3DS cartridge. One, because of
Yeah,
how
it sounds
big it
like
is,
it.
but then 2, because it's not like a reskin, it's a full remake of the game. As in, it looks nothing like its PS1 counterpart. Like, everything... It essentially looks like Dragon Quest VIII on the PS2.
Gotcha. Speaking of, that was a game where you beat the main scenario and then didn't have like a pretty big post game thing
Yes.
to like get ultimate armor or kill God or
Yeah,
something.
it wasn't quite like as big as Dragon Quest XI, where like you unlock the true ending or anything like that, but it was
okay.
it was pretty darn big.
Sorry, I'm just putting teardrops in my eyes. Okay.
Speaking of which, did you ever play through Dragon Quest XI?
Choose these words.
No, I haven't.
Ooh.
It's on my. I think it's on my wish list to get like the enhanced version.
Sparks, get new armor or defeat God. Yeah, that's true. Dragon Quest VII literally had you fight God, like, and not like, you know, the god of that universe, but just like the Michelangelo painting God.
I was about to say with the white beard and
Yep,
white robe
white
and
beard,
everything.
robe.
Right. I've seen that.
There's no real even malice to him. He just kind of wants to test your strength, and so you're like, yeah, done everything else, might as well fight God.
That's. I mean, this has to have a ceiling somewhere, right?
Right? Apparently not, because you do beat him.
Multiple machines detected ahead.
He's like, yeah,
What's
what do you
with
know?
these
You kicked my
android
ass, little
bodies?
boy from Fishing Village.
That's awesome.
Oh, dear Lord. I'm actually, really
So have
impressed
you
with
gotten
the
this
level
far?
design for this game.
Yeah, it's and they will switch between like 3D and 2D in a lot of spaces,
Uh-huh.
or in a lot of
What
fights
is
too.
this?
It's
I think I had kind of a wrong impression
Don't
about
listen to them
it.
too
Like, you know, the environments are very clearly big, but they're not like unvaried.
Yeah.
They don't
That's a
have any
problem you run
feelings.
into with
They're
like a
just
lot of
imitating
games where you
human
have like
speech.
such
Let's take
fast animation and they just make the environments really big to compensate.
Yeah.
They can be like
15.
kind of samey looking and generic, but this actually has some pretty cool stuff going on. Sparks, at least he's a good sport about it. Yeah.
I interrupted their fucking.
Yeah, I was gonna say they seem to be kind of enjoying themselves. Slaughter, exterminate.
Right, basically.
Have you watched any new Who on Disney Plus
No.
yet?
I stopped. What do you call it? I don't think I finished. I think we talked about this last time. That I
Yeah, with
didn't
Jodie
finish
Whittaker, but I mean,
all
have
these.
you watched any of the like brand new Doctor?
No. What's the actor's name?
I can't think of it.
'Cause he only just started. This was like earlier this year, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think his first episodes were this year. Crud, I cannot think of his name. He seems cool. I mean, like I
Okay.
I
You've
definitely want
watched
to
a
check
few?
him out, but I just kind of keep getting sidetracked with other stuff.
How many episodes they have now?
I don't know.
I don't know if they're still pumping them out or if they finished the season.
I'm not sure. Doctor Who is one of those series that, like, no matter how popular it gets, or, like, well, I don't know. No matter how mainstream it gets. I mean, streaming on Disney Plus is pretty mainstream, but I
Yeah,
still
for
feel like
sure.
I don't hear a whole lot about it.
No, it's still pretty niche. You know, I
It
think
is.
there was.
It's like perpetually niche.
I think its heyday, at least in the U.S., was probably Matt Smith.
Really, I would have thought more like Tenet.
Probably.
Well, I
Tenet.
guess maybe Tenet
Tenet.
Smith.
No. This is a machine.
Oh, hello. Oh,
No genitals.
no genitals.
Totally a machine.
It's okay. Just a beautiful naked man with no penis.
He's
Sparks, hi Ken.
he's enjoying this. I don't want him to enjoy this.
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Veni, He's at level 7. Oh god.
Right?
Oh man.
You know, I am kind of missing my lock on. That is one thing hard mode gets rid of.
Oh, you don't have a lock on. That's interesting.
But that's
Remember
okay.
what a big deal that was for Ghost of Tsushima?
No, I've never played that game.
Shit.
Wait, what? Did they not have a lock on? Like, at all in that
Well,
game?
so the original version of the game didn't have an enemy lock on. And
Okay,
I was of the
interesting.
mind that it didn't really need it. In fact,
Yeah.
like, when they went back and patched it later so that it did have a lock on, I felt like that actually made it harder to go from enemy to enemy.
Okay.
The only thing was, it did take some getting used to, because you basically, like, nudged the camera toward an enemy, and that became the one that you were going up. But I thought it was pretty precise overall. The lock-on, which was added later, makes it so that you kind of have to... It's like an extra step to switch between enemies, and I don't like it.
Okay.
Distracted
So you
Rabbit
can't- you
writes,
can't
a
turn it
friend
off."
just saw Tennant play Macbeth in London live. That would be amazing.
Oh, hi, Addie. I totally didn't say we were streaming. Or did I? I don't remember.
Did I? Unless...
I don't think I did.
That was great when we were playing Spider-Man. Like, Pete just kept looking for excuses to put the Venom suit back on.
I can't catch up with them. Unless.
Oh no, that car's getting away. Unless. Like, these low-level thugs all of a sudden get Venom.
With great crime comes great responsibility to stop
Stopped.
it with
Looks like we're
great,
safe now.
awesome alien power.
What the
You're right.
hell just happened?
I know. I've never seen a machine like that before. We better
He was
report
so
this to command.
cool. Did you see his hair and his
So beautiful.
weird knot dick?
Let's move to an area with better reception so we can contact command.
I don't know. This area seems pretty wide open. How much better can the reception get?
Seriously. We're pretty high up, too. There we go.
So I've been playing so many games on PC lately using the Xbox control scheme that my brain is now like getting jumbled, because for the longest time, the default for me has always been the Nintendo control scheme. But now I'm finally starting to adapt to the Xbox one. But then I went and played a Nintendo game today, and it threw me off because I was like, wait a minute, what's B, what's X?
Okay, this is good. We should be able to reach command here.
Yeah, I think I definitely default to Xbox in my brain now.
Yeah.
I read you, 9S. Go ahead.
I don't
Which
know.
is
At least
unfortunate, because like, I would like them to be like Sony, you know, where it's so different that your brain just doesn't have to think about it.
Understood. Ready to receive.
Hopefully you can get something out.
And
The
Nintendo's
default
been
of my
doing it
brain is
longer,
still
so they should be
PlayStation.
the default.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of interesting that it's just like, I think Nintendo must have like patented their control scheme, because when Xbox went with like what they are, every other like PC, or maybe it was Windows. Maybe
It was
they
actually
started that out with
Dreamcast that did it
Xbox.
first.
Did they have?
Yeah, Dreamcast was the first to use BAXY in the anti-Nintendo
you're right.
orientation.
I'm wondering if that was like a Windows thing, or if everyone else was just like, well, Nintendo has their thing and it's patented, so this is going to be the universal, like, because Steam Deck, everything else does it that way, you know, if they're going to use letters.
Well, you know, the funny
Nintendo's
thing was,
the odd
though,
one
like,
out.
with the Dreamcast, when they did it, I really didn't even think about it as BAXY. The controller had 4 distinct colors for the buttons, and so I thought of it as, like, red, blue,
Started going
green, yellow.
backwards. Yeah, that's true.
So that wasn't as big of a deal for me. And I know, like, the Xbox controller also does have colors, but they're not as pronounced. And they don't show up on, like, every game's interface, you know? Like,
Yeah,
some
as far
of
as
it,
the color.
sometimes it's just white letters.
Yeah, and obviously PlayStation went that route with PS5. So
Mhm.
I'm assuming none of the games have like a color associated with the, you know, cross and square and all that.
No,
like they
because
used to.
they're trying to, like, make the new PS5 scheme that, you know, unified.
Yeah, which is like, whatever. It's
As long as it's still triangle, square, circle, X, I'm fine.
yeah.
But yeah, like, but now it's like jumbled in my brain, because occasionally I'll still get the Xbox ones wrong, but now, like I said, I've been playing it so much that it's becoming more ingrained. But now when I just randomly popped in Tears of the Kingdom today just to goof around, and I was like, oh crap.
That game is also like, the control scheme is weird because it's like jump and climb is X, it's the top button.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you kicked some tin can ass out in
Yeah,
the
you
desert.
kind of have to
So I
like
guess,
play that a while
you
and
know,
get used to it again.
thanks or
Yeah, you
Especially
do.
with the fighting style. If you're like fighting like some big things, it takes a little
Don't
bit.
go trying to be a hero, all right?
Yeah, fighting in that game, I mean, it's definitely way more involved than previous entries in the series, but it's still like, you know, it's an exploration and puzzle game first and a combat game second, but they had a lot more intricate combat scenarios in that one.
Yeah.
Especially the final boss. Holy cow.
Oh, I forgot I have drugs.
Hey,
Those are
drugs.
fun.
Let's do some e-drugs. What the hell?
Usually don't get these till later. You can
I
take
think we've
recreational
earned a
drugs.
That's awesome.
Say 2B.
And they do like, there's like 30 different effects.
I'm worried about the damage we
So you
took in
just
that
get one
last
at
battle
random.
with the machines.
Yeah.
Maybe we should return to the resistance
You
camp.
unfortunately got Virtua Boy.
Maintenance?
All right, let's go back.
You got it.
I'm blasted out of my mind, but let's go back. Wait, I said return to the resistance camp. Why did it
Tough
not
shit.
teleport me?
You're walking.
Wait, is it because I was on drugs? Oh man. This
Harsh.
sucks.
Whoa, that's a tone shift. Just a bit.
A little bit. Okay, I guess I am walking. I ain't walking sober.
But
Oh,
I'm not walking sober.
you said you haven't seen any of the endings?
Any of the
It's
endings
not-
of what?
of this game.
No.
I could fix that. Let's see if I have any fishies.
You can overdose on drugs.
Probably.
You got
I
the
haven't-
junkie ending.
I haven't unlocked all the endings. There's endings A through Z, and I definitely don't have. I have like maybe 12 endings or something.
Okay.
Maybe I don't have a fishy. I mean, I have the fishes I collected. Like,
Dude, you
but
know
there's-
how I was telling you I keep getting like sidetracked whenever I try to do new projects with games that I've played 50 times?
yeah,
It's really weird you should mention this thing about the endings because I randomly, like, I was just scrolling through my Steam Deck earlier, and I randomly scrolled over Chrono Cross, and it dawned on me, like, hey, there's a game that unlike Chrono Trigger, I've never seen all the endings for Chrono Cross. I should really do that. And then, like, I had to stop myself because I'm like, in the end game of Dragon Quest 3, I still want to beat Persona 3. I'm like, no.
yeah, you can't start that. And how many endings are there in Chrono Cross? Like,
A lot.
because it has to do with characters that you have, right? right.
Yes.
Well,
and
here's
no.
an ending at least. I could unequip my OS chip. Whee!
There are some endings that involve characters directly, but not really. I mean, they
Okay.
all center around kind of the main plot, and some of them are like
That's
goofier
kind of like
than
Star
others.
Ocean. Like Star Ocean 2 is like, 80 something endings. But
Yeah, Star
usually
Ocean
it's just who's
2
in your party.
was like that did have very like depending on what character. That's awesome. Fatal error. Depending on like what characters like you used most in battle or that you became closest to, you got like different sub endings. So like there was the main ending that was like the conclusion of the story, but then attached to that are like, well, you played a lot with Ashton, and so now here's what he's been up to since defeating the final boss, and
Okay.
or maybe like this character and Claude got really close, so they went on a journey together, and here's what that looked like. And so it's like bits and pieces all attached to the main ending, if that makes sense.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I kind of get that. Like, actually, in a much smaller capacity, FF5 and
Yeah,
not really
actually a little
5.
bit.
But yeah,
But
FF6
like depending on what characters
that.
died or survived the final boss, you got like little different snippets. Yeah. Dude, I watched
Maybe I
this really cool YouTube video the other day about the development of Final Fantasy V.
I was hoping we could talk
Yeah.
about our next move.
I've always loved that game, but I didn't realize like how much went into it and what like a quantum leap it was from Final Fantasy IV.
Let's go back.
Yeah.
But like you think
I mean-
like Final Fantasy 4 and 5 are kind of similar, but then FF6 was like the huge leap forward.
Yeah.
There was a lot, like programming and sprite and ATB. Like, did you know that FF5, like the way that the enemies fought, was completely unique. Not just like for Final Fantasy, but for RPGs in general. They essentially invented the gambit system from FF12. Only, of course, it was invisible, and it was only the enemies that used it. But like
Interesting.
the system that we get to play with in FF12 to make the characters in your party attack, like from Final Fantasy V onward, that is what Final Fantasy had been doing.
Gotcha. That's
So
interesting.
and I never knew that. Like the gambit system was literally just lifted from the enemy AI programming. So like, you
That's
know,
pretty
like
cool.
condition, party member or enemy party has protect on, cast dispel, or whatever. Like that's the kind of
Which-
stuff that they would program, and they made essentially the gambit system to make it like as easy for the programmers as possible, and every enemy in those games from 5 onward, with a few rare exceptions where they wanted it to be like a round of attacks that you're supposed to memorize, like Omega Weapon in FF8, for instance. They all had the gambit system.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And makes fighting, a lot more, it feels more lively, where it's just
Yeah,
like,
it
I'm
does.
going to do this, and they counter it.
They
with
also
something.
respond, like every single enemy in that game, and again, what made it so difficult to program is that every single enemy will behave differently towards your party depending on what job classes you're using. So like,
Holy
it
shit.
knows to expect certain abilities from like a knight and a black mage, and it will adjust accordingly. And this was on, you know, well, and that's the other thing. Final Fantasy IV fit on a, what was it, like a 5 megabyte cartridge,
Yeah.
as opposed to like a, 128 kilobyte cartridge on the NES.
Yeah.
And so, that was really big for the time. But then FF5 came out and it's like, well, with all these job classes and all these different sprites and everything, we're going to need a bit more memory. So they said, let's make it an 8 megabyte cartridge. And then further into development, they were like, okay, it's not going to fit. We need a 16 megabyte cartridge. And then, like, they go to corporate and they're like, we're having trouble getting it to fit on 16. And they were like, no, it's going to be way too expensive just to print the damn game.
So they had to make it fit on 16, but
yeah, they were forced to make it fit on the 16.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that was something cool about the Super Nintendo is you could put the chips right in the cartridge, which is like, in a way, upgrading the system itself a little bit, depending on the game.
And when you think about it, they managed to fit FF6 also on a 16 megabyte. But
oh shit!
On the back case of Chrono Trigger, they tout it as the 32 megabit RPG experience. It was the first game where at least from Squaresoft, where they signed off on letting them use a 32 megabyte cartridge.
Wow. Interesting that Chrono Trigger had to do that. I mean, it's not a leap at all, it's kind of makes sense.
I think it's just like the variety of graphics and like how complex the soundtrack was and everything. It's certainly not like FF5 definitely had a more complicated battle system than
for sure, yeah,
than Chrono Trigger. But when you think about that, like that's just like kind of the math that's going on in the background. Whereas like visual and audio assets, those are what take up way more space.
Yeah.
And so like the reason that 5 and 6 are actually about the same size is even though 5's graphics weren't as modern as 6's, there were less sprites overall in 6. Because like you think you have your 4 basic characters, but then you have 20 some odd jobs.
Yeah.
And every single character has a unique sprite with every single job, and then also every single animation for that job. I mean, it was something like 3,000 sprites for the main party or something like that overall.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There was a lot of variety in that game. That's like, and I know they did it before with FF3, but there were a lot more jobs in 5.
Yeah, actually, they kind of compare it directly to 3, which was, pushing the NES cartridges to their limit.
Like every third entry in a game kind of did.
Yeah, pretty much.
Super Mario Brothers 3 was like, that game looked just crazy different from the first Mario Brothers game.
Yep.
Like,
Operator to 9S.
Okay, I was like, what do I do next?
Go ahead.
I have an incoming message for 2B and 9S from the commander. Initiating playback. 2B, 9S. We've lost contact
I
with
love that
several
you're
Yorha
freaking
units that were
fishing
on their
while
way to the surface. Their black boxes are online.
Taking
so
a message from your
they're still
commander.
alive. We've tracked the location of their signals. So I need all Yorha units on the surface to head over and investigate.
But yeah, I'll try to find the link to that video again and send it to you. It's really interesting.
Oh yeah,
Something about that
I'd definitely be interested.
One thing that I didn't know
confirmed.
that I actually
I'm
learned
worried
from
about
that
the other
video,
androids.
did you know
We should
that
probably check this out
FF4
as
was
soon as
originally
possible.
supposed to be on the NES?
Yes.
And that what we know as Final Fantasy IV with Cecil and Kain and Rosa was originally FF5?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Complete.
And I don't know how far they got in development of FF4.
Like
But
FF4 NES? Yeah,
Or
I would
NES,
love
yeah.
to know that. And
I'd love to see, like,
I
if there
just
was
want to
any,
see
like,
what they
mock-ups.
scrapped. Like,
Yeah, me too.
was it going to look a lot like FF1, 2, and 3? I imagine so, because the NES was already pushing the limits of what it could do with 3, but yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely not as interesting as what you were just talking about. Like, I please send me that link. But I was watching something the other day that was mentioning like FF4 NES and how FF5 became FF4, and I think there was something else like FF6 became Chrono Trigger or something like that. There were a few like switch arounds.
My
But,
favorite is the game that we got as Xenogears
Looks like
was
our
originally
surface
supposed to
route's
be
been cut
FF7.
off. Maybe we can get through from underground.
Wait, say that again.
So Xenogears was originally started its development life as FF7, but they thought it was too tonally different from everything else
2B,
that
those machines
Final
out in the
Fantasy had done
desert look
before.
just like
Yeah,
androids, right?
which I think looking
Right.
back was
But
the
we
correct, was
androids
the
were
right
modeled
move.
after our
Like
human
FF7
creators.
was
So
totally
why would
different from
machines try to look
FF6,
like us?
but
it had, you
Xenogears
know,
was
like
There's no
the
point
same
trying to
skeleton.
look
You
up
know, you had
unsolvable
summons
For sure.
and
I
spells and yeah.
suppose.
But and I'm sure obviously Xenogears they ended up changing a lot to be its own game. But Xenogears is definitely way. I mean, we don't have any Final Fantasy games that are just
Yeah,
like,
there
hey, here's
there
a
are no
mecha.
Final Fantasy bones in
No.
Xenogears.
Other than that poster of Tifa or something.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot all about that. Ooh, this is cool.
Yeah, this is a fun little place.
What was the other thing that I thought was interesting about that video? Oh yeah, so like they also kind of went through in this video like the identity crisis that Final Fantasy had in the West, you know, and not just like the numbering or anything, but like the fact that the Saga games were released as like the Final Fantasy Adventure series.
Adventures, yeah.
Which is kind of funny because it was for the original Saga games like just an offshoot of the NES Final Fantasy team that made them, which is why like in Romancing Saga you have sprites that look like they're just taken right out of FF4.
Yeah.
And so like for a long time, I mean most people don't think about the Saga series hardly at all these days. Though they did just get a new game. Like for a long time in the early 90s, Square Enix considered Saga and they weren't Square Enix. Squaresoft considered Saga and Final Fantasy their two main titles. Like Final Fantasy was kind of their like traditional backbone, and Saga was like just this. It was like its distant cousin where they could take all these weird risks and implement systems that they didn't in Final Fantasy, and so yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like Saga peaked with the two Saga Frontier games. And I think most people would probably say that, but...
Yeah, and those were...
It is kind of interesting,
the
though, to
first
look at
ones-
the early, like, Romancing Saga games and see just how similar they are to Final Fantasy.
Which the Super Nintendo Saga games never made it over here, did they? Or at
No,
least
but
not
they are
on
getting
the Super
re-releases
This game isn't going to
that
open.
are, like,
Maybe there's
Romancing
another way
Saga
around.
2, I want to say. Just got an HD re-release on Steam.
On the Switch, right? Oh,
Yeah,
on
Switch
Steam
and
too.
Steam.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah.
Which, again, I don't think I have any interest in playing those games because I heard they're notoriously difficult. I don't know if they...
I kind of wonder how they changed them, though, for the re-release.
Yeah.
I'd be curious just to check it out. I'll probably wait until it's, like, on a deep sale or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that being said, like, I really, really loved Saga Frontier 1 and 2 on the PlayStation. Like, those were excellent games.
Did you beat those?
Yeah.
Because those were also,
Where
like,
does this
very
corridor
difficult
lead?
games.
I actually finally beat the first one when the HD remaster came out.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Did you do that on Switch or on Steam?
Steam.
I don't know why they're like... I don't know if they're on
Getting
any other
resistance signals
system,
from
but
that
yeah,
building over
Nintendo
there.
is definitely playing ball with, like, Square Enix.
Yeah,
these days.
Square and Nintendo have really buried the hatchet.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where we got that Mario RPG remake, I never thought I'd see that. Like,
No, me either. Like,
I
holy
don't
crap.
think they'll do it, but man, if they were to do a sequel to Mario RPG,
Ugh.
like 30 years
I mean,
later,
never
how
say
cool
never.
would that be?
Seriously, like I never would have. I would have been like, "You're an idiot" if you told
We need a
me
way through.
Mario RPG
Let's
was
look around
getting
for a
like a
route we can
remake.
take.
Like it's like there's too much involved in that. Like
Like
the fact
how
that
cool
when they
would it
announced
be
it-
to like just see a trailer of like Mario sleeping in his mushroom house from 1995, and when all of a sudden like Gino shows up and he's like, Mario, the Star World has been thrown into chaos. I need you to come with me, and that like kicks off a sequel or something like that, you know?
yeah,
Just
oh my
like
gosh.
where Mario goes with Gino, or you know, leaves the environments of the first game for a completely new adventure built on that same system. Though that would be so cool.
I mean, there's so many Nintendo teams, and the thing is, it's like Mario RPG remake. It wasn't even a Nintendo team. Like
No, it was mostly
there's-
Square.
These machines are heavily armed. We'll regret
These
later if we
machines
let
are
them
heavily...
escape.
These fun
Let's
circus
take 'em out.
machines. They're
Yeah, I
meant
don't think
to
you have
kill.
to fight this one, but I'm still going to, because...
Because it's gonna die.
Yeah. Oh, God, okay.
Wow.
I didn't even think that one would go down that quickly, but I guess...
What's this? Some kind of crystal?
Analysis. It is
You
a
can sell
core
those for a
fragment from
lot.
the machine
But yeah, like
platform.
ever since we got the Mario RPG remake, I've just been kind of like
Plant cell.
watching every Nintendo announcement just to see if
I
maybe
get
they
you.
would make that dream come true.
It's also, they have so many teams that are just working on stuff in the background, and it's just like, hey, this huge thing's coming out. It's
Mhm.
like, what? But it's also like, okay, what are they working on? Like the team that did, not EAD, I don't know what they're called these days, but the last game they released was Mario Odyssey. It's like, what have you been working on for the past 8 years? Like,
I'd be very willing to bet that when probably beginning of next year or so, when we finally get news of the successor to the Switch,
yeah,
I bet you a Mario game will be among the release titles.
I think so, and that hasn't been typical for like the last couple systems. But
Well,
I think that's
about
what's
what
going
a
to
big
happen.
deal Mario 64 was for
Oh,
the
yeah.
for the N64. Like,
That,
I
and
would
it's
love
just
for
like-
them to recapture that. And I mean, Mario
Everyone
Odyssey
thought there
was,
would be
was
a new
such
Switch.
a big game that I think there's plenty of people still actively playing it.
Oh yeah,
I would
if
love
not the
to see
vanilla game,
like
then the mods.
the next big like main 3D Mario adventure be a launch title. That would be so cool.
I would love that, and I feel like there's a good chance,
What's
just
this?
with how long it's been.
Analysis. It is a device that propels humans on rails.
Yeah,
at
it
high
it,
speeds
it doesn't
for
feel like it's been
purposes
that long
of
because we're getting older, but I mean it's been like, when did that
It's
game
been
come
like-
out? 2019.
2017.
Strange
17?
monsters.
Yeah, November 2017.
Oh my!
Yeah, it's
God.
been a while, and of
8
course we've had
years?
like other Mario games, but not like an actual.
I guess 7 years, but but like by the time the Switch 2 comes out, it will have been 8 years. That
Yeah,
like
I mean,
it's crazy how old 8-year-old games used to feel.
yeah. Seriously, that was like a.
Oh,
And that's like nothing. Like there,
That'd be
there
like
are
half of
games
your
that-
life ago.
from 2017 that are on my short list of, oh yeah, I really got to play those.
Yeah.
Good God,
And I
that
think
doesn't feel
we
real.
thought the Switch 2 would be out by now. So the fact that it isn't, I think they've just given themselves more time
Yeah.
to like work on some of these games that likely will be
Wow, this is
launch
pretty.
titles.
Side note.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
This is one of
And-
my favorite parts of the game.
And
for sure.
I'm really of the mind, I applaud Nintendo for making the Switch last as long as it did. I think the only reason that the Switch feels as old as it does is that it was actually kind of underpowered when it released.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
that's always been, well, ever since the GameCube, that's always been Nintendo's thing. They don't really care about cutting edge graphics. They just,
Yeah.
it's just cool gameplay and hardware ideas.
The Wii especially, that was not that much more powerful than a GameCube.
No.
It was really just like, here's the innovative thing we're doing. Like,
Right.
so we were looking for Yorha members. Their signals, their black box signals were still active, but they'd gone missing. So
Uh-huh.
here's where we ended up.
Oh. The hell's that?
What the hell?
the records don't say
Huh.
anything about a machine like this.
It's the Hell House. Wow, it's eating some poop.
Basically Hell House, but yeah, it's
Oh my God, Max.
where's the health bar even?
I think you disintegrated it.
Did I kill it already?
Oh yeah.
Probably.
I think now you're just beating its corpse into dust. Oh my God, stop! He's already dead.
Stop. It's already dead.
Oh my God. Poor creature.
Seriously.
I mean, if I'm to understand, this thing is storing the souls of your fellow Yorha members.
It's wearing some of them as decorations, but
Oh,
there's more
God.
around. Let's see. Just to make sure. Yeah, I'm on type A, so I should be able to see its health. So
Activate
yeah,
God
I'm
Cannon.
assuming.
I think it's trying to go through its death animation, and you're just not letting it.
Maybe. Nines, stop attacking it. You might
What
have
does
been
it
right.
want? It's just
It's
like,
running
this was
away.
a bad idea. It
It's
just
just
goes
like-
back behind the curtain.
Like I'm not here. Yeah, I guess it had to do that.
Oh god, you literally wouldn't let it die. But yeah, to finish out that thought though, like
it'll affect our bodies as well.
I really like that Nintendo made the Switch last as long as it did, and I wish that other consoles would do the same. But I get that, like, compared to what is out now, even just like on smartphones, like the Switch is criminally underpowered.
It's you feel its age for sure.
I feel like we wouldn't feel its age quite as much though if like when the Switch had come out, if it had like graphics comparable to even like the early PS4 games or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Dead androids. Wait,
I don't think.
But at the same time, like, Nintendo freaking won the last couple of console they haven't really been console wars, but like console competitions. Like, considering like how not only how many ridiculously good games have been released for the Switch, but like how consistently it has sold and even sold out. Like you remember like during COVID when it suddenly became impossible to find a Nintendo Switch.
When it became popular again? It was
Yeah,
like,
because people were buying them so that they had something to do, like while they were at home. But yeah, I mean it's and then the Steam Deck itself is, I mean really it takes its design philosophy from the Switch.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the future of the next generation of consoles, I guarantee it. So whatever Nintendo releases, I'm hoping they don't, and I think they'll go to great pains this time to make sure that they don't repeat the same mistakes they did with the Wii U. But I do think that whatever we get is going to look at least similar to the Switch. Oh my god, it's already dead.
It's already dead again.
I think the Switch 2 will, or whatever it is called, will look and feel a lot like a upgraded version of the Switch.
I think so, and they usually don't do that, but I think because the Switch has been so popular, and because it's like, that is where just, like you said, everything is going that direction to be like a portable
PC,
and
yeah.
like kind of the everything machine.
Well, but and when you think about it too, like how would you go back? Like imagine if they just released a living room box, and then they would also have to come up with a new portable system, because the Switch for the last decade has been both their main home console and their portable.
Yeah.
And realistically, like, portables are so powerful now that there's no real reason to have it be a separate device.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the Switch 2 will bear much more of a resemblance to the first Switch.
I agree. As long as they, and the danger with that is like the Wii U, basically, where it's just like, if they just call it the new Switch, that's not going to cut it.
The hacking?
Yeah, they've got to be.
No
I think that's more than
scanners are pretty good
anything
at that kind of
what
thing.
they have to be careful
I've
about.
got
But
your back
I also think
anytime.
that the Switch has earned them such a large audience
We have
that
to
even
save
if they
those
did
androids.
call it the Switch 2, I don't think that would be as big of a hindrance as the Wii U
circuits are fried.
was.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
they were only
it
being
has
kept
two in
alive
it.
by that
You
Yeah.
would hope people would be like, okay, this is
I mean,
different.
Sony's been doing that for 20 years, so.
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
And honestly, like,
So,
Xbox has tried, like,
What is
super
it?
creative
the
names,
machine
and it's
had some
actually kind of
pretty
worked
weird
against
things
them.
to
Like,
say, huh?
Oh,
off
it
the
definitely has.
top of my head, I couldn't
Actual
tell
emotion.
you
Machines don't have
whether the
feelings.
Series S or the
You said
Series
that
X is the
yourself.
powerful
Yeah,
one.
Also, they called their
guess.
third system the Xbox One,
Mhm.
which is like, you dummies.
Yeah.
And that probably wasn't the right call.
And they got really pissed when people started calling it the X-Bone.
The X-Bone, yeah, seriously.
But that actually kind of helped, because
it's also like that was the generation to lose, and they lost it because
This thing
the
is awfully
PS4,
verbose for a
Xbox One
machine.
generation is the generation that they decided, okay, the digital library is not going to reset again.
Yeah.
You know, this is going to be the same thing going
Could be a
forward.
trap.
And so people are
Still,
kind of
we
like
should at least
invested in
head
their
over there and gather
ecosystems,
data,
you
right?
know?
They are.
With
But
pretty
I
much
gotta
with
hand
the
it to
PS4.
Microsoft, though. Like, I think Xbox as a service is a way better idea than Xbox as a console.
I agree.
And again, I
just-
think Sony's gonna wind up going the same direction. It's just gonna take them
Yeah,
a
I
little
think
longer.
everyone will. It's going to take them a lot longer because they don't have to right now.
No.
It's pretty much when they'll be forced to.
But the fact that they're releasing all of their big titles on Steam now, and that a lot of people are choosing to wait to buy them on Steam because they would, like me, they would rather have everything in one
Me too.
library, in one location, and playable across multiple devices
Yeah.
than have to own an entirely
Oh,
separate
right.
box that
You wouldn't have
sits
seen that before.
apart in their
They're
living
sending
room. I mean,
supplies
it's
I think
just...
to
they're
the moon
already
and the
getting
bunker.
there. Like,
They are.
No spare
they're
parts or
releasing
fuel in
things
space, after
like
all.
Helldivers 2, one of their first releases that they decided we're going to do this simultaneously. It's a Sony exclusive, but
Sparks just had a great comment. She says, responding to Xbone, I swear every major company really needs to run every idea
So why
past
don't
at
the
least
machines,
one 12-year-old
or the
before
aliens who
naming
created
something.
them, attack the bunker directly? They originally
That's a good
came
point.
here from outer space, right?
Well, there are a few theories about
like
that,
GameCube.
but no one knows
Yeah,
for
right.
sure. Hard to tell what an
Cube.
alien is thinking, you know?
GameCube. I care.
Damn it, he's right. It could never work.
Scrap everything.
What about the game box? Yeah, I'll suck your game cocks. I mean, really, there's no safe name.
No. I'll always figure something out.
Machine Village. This reminds me just a little bit of the Black Mage Village in FF9.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know why.
Because it's also
I think
like a
it's the pointy
surprise
houses.
They all have
when you
white
get there
flags.
because every
Looks like
black
they really don't
mage has
wanna fight.
been hostile towards you,
Right.
you know? And then you get to the village, it's just like, what?
Like, oh god, they're victims. What have we done?
Oh no, what have we been doing?
There's something you must understand.
Though they kind of make that clear pretty early on with VV.
2B.
Yeah,
You
for
can't
sure.
trust anything
God,
the
FF9
machines
had
say.
such a great story.
I understand what you see this as the enemy.
I'm gonna play that again. But it's like, when's the freaking I don't know if it's remake or...
Those who reside here desire nothing more than to live
what
a
the fuck?
peaceful existence.
What is not a remake? A remaster.
Yeah, remaster.
It's true.
It's just like... I'm surprised that hasn't come out yet. Because it's... I don't know if they announced it officially, but it's been talked about in that, like, GeForce leak for years now.
You,
And it's
you
just
know
like,
what?
okay.
You know what I would love, and like the more I've been thinking about this, I don't know how they would pull it off because of FF7 remake already, you know, like jumping the gun on the remakes.
Yeah.
But I would love to see FF7 through 10. You know how we had like the pixel remaster? I would love to see like a poly remaster.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like so it's the exact same game, same skeleton and everything like that, but just like the graphics of FF1 through 6, they take like the pixels and they make them nice and presentable for like 1080p and upward screens. I would love to see them do that with 7 through 10, but essentially like what the fan the fan mods that I showed you with FF7.
Yeah, something
I'd
like
love
that.
to see that.
Because like
just have
FF8
them redo
remaster,
all of the pre-rendered backgrounds in widescreen, make them like crystal clear, like 4K resolution, and then just take like those original kind of low poly models and make them look, I don't know, maybe comparable to like PS2 or PS3 models. And
FF8 remaster didn't go far enough.
no,
It was...
that's what I'm saying. Like they kind of sort of did it with FF8, but they didn't go all the way.
No.
The fan community did exactly what I'm talking about with FF7. I think, and then the 7 remake series is still coming out, so they couldn't possibly release another ongoing Final Fantasy VII title at the same time as people are watching remakes. So like, which is the real remake?
Yeah, I get that. I mean, and we kind of thought they were doing that with Integrate, or not Integrate. What is that called?
I'm not sure where you're going.
Yeah, it ended up being a
Time for your regularly scheduled contact.
like a gotcha game basically.
Oh,
Sephiroth
yes.
with the short hair.
Yeah, I
Too
don't
late
even
here.
remember its
What's
name. I
wrong?
care so little about it now.
Yeah, seriously. And we were
Ever
so excited for
Crisis.
it because of how it looked.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yep. That could have been really cool, but I'm not in the mood for a gotcha game.
No.
But yeah, like, I don't know. I wish they would do it. I think they could eventually do it, but I think it'll be a
I am
while.
definitely not the person to
Like, can you
discuss
say that
this
again?
with.
I said I wish they would do it with the PS1 and maybe FF10 as well. But they've already released an
You
HD
leaving would be
remaster of
bad
10
for me.
that makes it
It
look
would
pretty
affect
modern.
mission efficiency.
Yeah.
So
Although
again,
that
like
itself is like that came out on the PS3, so that's like
All Model B
what,
combat units require the
8,
assistance of
9
an
years
operator.
old, something
oh,
like
more
that.
than that.
So
The 10 and 10.2 HD remaster that was on PS3, PS Vita, and then they did another release
Kind
of it
of
on
a ver-
PS4.
which was like kind of an upgrade because they threw in the old PS2 soundtrack and
They did, yeah, because they had extra space.
The graphics got bumped up again, where like even the webbing with their fingers was gone and all that. But
Yep.
so kind of a new version, sorta. But
Yeah,
I think also partially because I'm slightly lost. We'll do next time on Play the Hits.
All
we are
right.
going to run back to the village because we haven't unlocked the ability to transport yet. Actually, you know what? Maybe we have. Maybe it's been there the whole time. Maybe it's been there the whole time. I'll check next time.
maybe
But,
it's been there the whole time.
everything
right.
else has been here the whole time, so why
Sweet.
not that?
All right, buddy.
Either
We'll
way,
see you next time.
see you next time, buddy.